everybody, welcome to another episode on the Paint Table. It's my weekly show where you get to sort of catch up and see what I've been working on this week, what I've painted, what I got done, and some upcoming and future projects. So, busy week. This rounded out my sort of mad mantic painting month where I crushed out 2,000 points of Ogres for Kings of War, and now an Enforcer team for Deadzone. In between that, I painted a little bit of scenery, some Infinity stuff, and all kinds of other bits and pieces, but if you've been watching this show every week, you've been catching up on that. So let's take a look at what I got done and what's coming up in the future. All right, so here's the finished pile for this week. Lots of different projects. First things first, this was the last unit that needed to get done for my Ogres for Kings of War, and it was 11 Red Goblins. Now, there's a reason I've never painted an Orc and Goblin army, and the reason is mostly painting lots of the same thing over and over again. These 11 Goblins almost broke me, and of course, you know, I'd been putting off painting it until the very, very end, which meant that after having painted, you know, 3 Giants, 3 Hordes of Ogres, 2 units of Ogres, and 2 Heroes, I was like on the home stretch, but that meant 11 of basically the same guy on a stand, and it was rough. It did not go smoothly, and I think apart from flea bags and stuff, which would be more fun to paint because they're riding like giant wolf monsters, these will probably be the only goblins in my army. I just told Owen I have 8 extra goblins if you need them to round out units in your fledgling goblin army. So that was the first thing I finished. Then, just tonight, I managed to finish off my Enforcer team. I'm going to call them team for Deadzone 2. I've got Bill and Sue from Terrainaholic coming up tomorrow to play some games, and actually you'll be watching this while I'm recording a Let's Play for Deadzone 2nd Edition, penned by the mighty Jake Thornton of 90s White Dwarf fame, I guess. Yeah, 90s White Dwarf. He'd been the 90s White Dwarf. Yeah, that would have been the same era. And yeah, if you're a fan of skirmish games, this is going to be super exciting. I've never played it before, and I painted this just to sort of give it a go. These guys are called Peacekeepers. They're the big Terminator-y sort of guys. Heavy laser gun. These guys have big shields, wrist blades, stuff like that. And these guys over here are Enforcers. They're your bog standard sort of like infantrymen in this mantic, crazy future. The bases were all done with a mix of the base roller, the deck plating base roller from Green Stuff World, and just some grit and sand and stuff like that on top of some standard bases. So that's been a fun project. I enjoyed painting those. And then I did some scenery. You'll get to see a big feature on this, the Pulp collection from MC Studios. I finished off the fountain, and well, the fountain I want to do some more details like leaves and stuff on, but the fountain's painted, as are some park benches and some park walls from the MC Studios Pulp collection. That rounds out the 3 buildings I finished, which will give me enough scenery to, I guess I feel comfortable showing it off in Witches' Wonders. It's a whole bunch of stuff. It's super cool. And I also painted some new ruins from the Small Terrain Company. These are handmade and hand-poured in resin, and these are going to be great for Necromunda, Frostgrave, variety of Kings of War. Like anytime I need ruins, they paint it up super quick, and they look really, really sharp. So there was this week's painting. I managed to crush out another, I guess, 21 models and like 4 or 5 terrain pieces while the kids... Now, weather's been really nice here, so the awesome thing about that is I can take the kids out to like the local sort of like municipal park, and they can, you know, go hunting for caterpillars and chasing bubbles until they pass out for like 3 hours for naps. So I've been managing to get some solid painting time in while the kids nap, because they are so exhausted from morning out in the sun doing stuff that they tend to like power through a nap into the afternoon, and I get some awesome uninterrupted painting time while they're down. So there's the current painted for this week. Let's take a look at some upcoming projects. All right, well, here on my spray thing, I got some new stuff. I've got the last Fire Giant. This is a Reaper Bones Fire Giant. I am super excited to paint this guy. He was sent to me, and you know, he's the 3rd one basically to round out the collection of Fire Giants. He'll get painted probably the week after next. I'm kind of saving him because I have some flea bags coming into, and I kind of want to crush out more Kings of War stuff along with my chariots in sort of like one big batch. But he's primed, clean, and ready to go. I cut the base off him and mounted him here on a cork so I could get some just white spray on him. And I'll paint him like that too before I mount him onto a base. His base is actually dried and built as well. I got my Dragon Lady for Infinity. She's the HVT mini. I still have the paints, and this Shaolin Monk and Hack Tao. They're going to round out a bit more in my Yu-Ching stuff, but on top of that, I've got my Sujan, which I saw the Sujan in action at the Lords of War Masters, and I want one now. I got to paint mine because he's super cool. Yeah, he gets a lot of work done. He's pretty awesome. And then here I've got Brockers, which are space dwarves for Deadzone. I figured we need a second Deadzone troop. So once I've done the Let's Play with Bill and Sue, and I've kind of like wrapped my brain around the game, I'll be able to have a second team on hand so that Owen can play. Mike can give it a try. I think Mike actually has some stuff too, but with this painted, there'll be a second team on hand so we can play some more games. And if people come in with their own Deadzone bands, which of course you guys are always welcome to do, once I know how to play, we have the assets to do it. I'll have 2 war bands that we can opt between so that I'm not just playing Enforcers all the time. So that's on the docket as well. I found these in a pile of like, would I have these miniatures? Which very often happens when I go through boxes. And it looks like enough guys for a decent sized warband. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Brockers, 2 of the dudes with machine guns that I think are like engineer types. I think this is a leader guy over here, and then the big mining laser. And it all has to be cleaned, obviously, and assembled just as it comes out of the bags. But yeah, I figured I'd show it off and show you that it's not just Enforcers. There will be something else eventually too. And hopefully you guys bring in baddies like the Plague and the Marauders and stuff like that to play as well. So there's some upcoming projects for myself in the upcoming sort of like following weeks. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I got going on. So there you have it, another On the Paint Table on the books. Big thanks to Anthony Lee and to Vinny Herford for hooking me up with, well, they both attempted to send me the Fire Giant. Actually, one of them got there first and it was in the mail, and then the other one messaged me and said, hey, I got the Fire Giant kicking around from Reaper Bones if you want it. Because I'd already got one in the mail, he decided to send me flea bags instead. So just huge thanks to you guys. That's going to expand my Ogre army with tons of different options outside of what I was able to get in just the Mega Force, and give you guys hopefully more enjoyable stuff to watch. We got lots more Mantic stuff in the future. Actually, it's been a really big month for Mantic for just getting stuff done, because I promised I was going to paint that Ogre army ages ago. And it was just so much stuff that I had stuff that came up in between that kept me from doing it. But I powered through it this month, the last 4 weeks or so. And there's been a lot of sort of like Mantic stuff going on locally. There's a big tournament out in Kitchener-Waterloo. They got some support directly from Mantic itself. And the guys at Black Knight Games have been bugging me too for more Kings of War stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy watching it, because there's lots more of it coming in the future, of course, including the Deadzone stuff and more Kings of War stuff we'll be doing with Bill and Sue from Trainaholic. So we'll see you next week. You guys can tune in and see what I got done. Might not be from this pile of like stuff that I have in work in progress. Might be something else. Who knows? My endless painting queue has things that are time sensitive and need to get knocked off. But you'll find out next Saturday. Until then, I'm Ash. Happy working.